Hey friends, Jessica here from Creators Couture. So I'm super excited today to introduce you to my new Galaxy inspired color blending Photoshop brushes. They are so much fun. And I say new, but actually I released these as a beta back in May of last year for my Patreon members. But finally, I've had a chance to refine them, tweak them, perfect them. And now I've got the whole creative kit available for download now on my website. So we're gonna go over the brushes. I'm gonna give you a quick tour, and then we'll do a really quick tutorial of to create some Zodiac inspired social media graphics. So to get started here, this is the cover image that I created for these brushes, and it gives you a little preview of what you can expect with these brushes. And what I love about these brushes is they're built for layering. So, you know, when you see these like astrological, cosmic, galaxy inspired illustrations and designs, you know, you want that absolute like layered depth texture, and these brushes are perfect for it. So over here you can see on the left and the right I've layered a few different brushes, and you really get that magical effect. And of course they have the color blending magic that I have in a lot of my brushes. And as you can see here, we have some really cool gold asteroid brushes over on the side. And down here, I actually, for a set of my illustrations, I hand illustrated some Zodiac sign graphics. And then what I did was I turned them into a Photoshop brush stamp that you can use for your illustrations. So let's just kind of give you a little quick tour to show you what's new with these brushes. And as you can see here in this demo graphic, you really can have fun with the layering effects. And we're gonna do that more in my tutorial. So as you can see here, I've got different brushes layered together, and they've got those pre-blended color palettes like I always have. So I went through and created these amazing color palettes for you, so you don't have to do anything. And I sampled them from Galaxy photography and images and made these beautiful, beautiful color blends. So here's just a little sample overview of the brush chart. And you can see the brushes one by one, but where the magic really happens is layering them together. It just absolutely creates magic. And here's the second part of my brushes. Oh, my little light went out. Anyway, you get the idea. I still look all right. So we've got the brushes here, and these ones I love. You can see the starry effects, just everything, you know, happening all in one brush stroke. So even when you layer them together, it's even more amazing. And then here is a preview of the Zodiac icons that I created, and you can use these for your designs. And they're great with a little gold, or you can have a lot of different fun with them. But they're available as Photoshop brush stamps, so you just stamp it on your design and, you know, have fun with that. And then here is a little preview of the palettes the color palettes that I have. So as you can see here, you can see the color blends with using like a little more of a traditional brush. But whenever you use these color blends, then here you get some of here's kind of what an idea of what it will look like when you're layering these brush strokes and using these brushes with it. But gorgeous, gorgeous Galaxy color blends already made for you. Here we have some samples of the wet brush palettes, and you know I love my wet mixer brush. And so I turned these color blends from here into a wet brush palette for my wet brushes. And not only that, I give you a little sampler of wet brushes so you can make these strokes, because this is mainly like a color palette collection for the wet brushes, but you need wet brushes to play with them. So I give you a little brush sampler in there so you can use those wet color palettes. And then here's just some sample of some quote graphics I did last year layering these brushes. So as you can see, we have some starry brushes, some cloudy brushes. Here I've got like 2 or 3 different brushes that I used to create this, but I mean, not to toot my own horn, but beep beep, those are gorgeous. And here was also a little bonus kit that I'm including in this. This is the Magic Meteors. It's just a little mini kit that I made for a tutorial, but I love using those gold brushes with this, and I created these special little meteor brushes, the 2 that you see here on the right, and a couple different bonus brush strokes that I added to this kit. So This was a little mini kit that I made for a tutorial, but I've included that in this package here. And then where are we? So we've got, here you can see just a little demo that I've done. I've layered a few brush strokes. So probably, I don't want to send you back to my old video where I kind of went over some of these brushes. So I'm going to show you some of these brushes in action now. And of course I have the pre-blended color palettes here. So I'm just going to grab one of them. The second one is probably my favorite. And I'm going to start with like a brush number 20 here. And I'm just going to quick roll through and show you some of these brush strokes here. So this one is especially my favorite. Like I love the little, it looks like little solar systems or stars exploding inside there. And one thing to understand is that I have added pressure sensitivity in these brushes since my beta version. So you can go light or you can go heavy and have all the fun of that different brush strokes. So, you know, layer it with these other brushes, it creates magic. Here's brush number 21. It's a little bit different. Gorgeous. I'm so in love with these. Here's brush number 22. This one, I love this, this little kind of harsh effect that comes in the middle. I think that's super, super great. 23, I'm starting with some of my favorites here even. So there's 23, and this has a real feeling of like space in between there. So, you know, you've got the depth that's built right into that brush. And of course you can press hard for a more dramatic effect and soft for a more subtle effect. And I think that's where the improvements really come in, is before they were not pressure sensitive, but now because of the pressure sensitivity, you can really build that depth effect. Here's brush 24, which is like subtle, cloudy, dreamy, awesome. 25, it's got a little bit more defined edges, but they're soft. It looks kind of fuzzy. Here's 26. This I love because it looks like it has like little solar systems trapped inside that brush, and I think that's super fun. And yeah, I just totally love tooting my own horn here. But I've had a lot of fun creating these, and I love how they turned out, so I'm super excited to share them with you. And then we've got them, this was magical meteor bonus brushes, but this one is dreamy, and this one too has a really fun subtle effect. I think it's cool. The magical meteor streaky, which you can make these really you know, nice little streaks to go into your designs. And then sparkle, which adds some starry sparkles. Now let's roll back to the beginning of these brushes. Number one is like, this one is really useful because it creates those little like starry sort of effect. But once again, what I like about it is you can do it light and they look farther away, but then you push harder, and then, you know, you have those brighter stars. So really like that. Same thing with number 2. This one I wanted not just a cluster of stars, but I wanted one that you can control more on a line. So that's a lot of fun. 3 has a unique, like a little star shapes. I like that one. 4, this one is really multi-purpose, really useful. Then I can change some of my color palettes. You can see here. 5, I think I'm going to leave on my favorite. Number 2 is like my favorite color palette. Here's number 5, and on its own, I think it's okay, but whenever you blend it with some of the others, I think that's where it shines, and you get a really cool kind of a galactic effect. 6 is super useful here. Let's just zoom in a little bit. I think 6 and 7 I'm using a lot. So there's 6, and you've got that nice starry effect. Here is 7. This one has more, and just in one brush stroke, look what we can make. Super cool. Here's number 8. and number 9. So those are all like a lot of starry ones, but with all different effects, so you can have fun with those. Here's 10. This one is good to add, like, let's just kind of layer it on my thing here. So I'm gonna put that into focus here. Number 10, you can make these streaks, so you can have a lot of fun, and then maybe add some asteroids on top of that. 11 too, you can make some nice streaks, like you have a abstract sort of, you know, meteor going through or whatever. 12 I love, because if you push hard, you've got these big color blocks, but with this one, if you push lightly, look how it adds these like magical colors, and it's just super cool. That is a very, very useful brush. 13 is also useful. I love it. It's kind of a spray painty sort of one. I find myself using that a lot. Number 14 is like a starry sort of one. I mean, they're all kind of different versions of that. This one is a less dense starry one, so you could, you know, use it to follow directions of a path. 16, this one is good because you can have, it's directional, so you can, you know, kind of make something like that go on. 17, this one's really like cloudy, subtle. This is, if you push hard, it's a little dramatic, but 17 I recommend pushing a little bit soft, and you can add some really like yeah, like that, like you see there's some kind of cloudy color to your sort of motif. 17B is a little bit I gave you a bonus brush on this one. It's a little more directional, but the same kind of motif, so I like that too. We have got 18. This one's soft and fuzzy, but you know, kind of like the 12, kind of adds some color sort of effects. 19, that's a little bit similar, a little bit more dramatic, so you can, like, yeah, add some bolder color spots. And then that brings it back to 20, which is probably my favorite brush. I love it. I think it's so great. So anyway, that's the brush tour. And then as you can see here, we have all these different color palettes. There was 15 of the main color palettes in the 2 bonus ones. And I also created solid color palettes for you. And then you have wet brush palettes. And they look like this, but they're the same kind of colors that are used in the other ones. And mainly I wanted to provide you with the wet brush palettes, but in case you don't already have some of my wet brushes, I have given you 5 different creamy brushes, and those are actually originally from my iridescent collection, but they work really well with these. So I'll give you just a really quick little demo here. I'm grabbing brush 4, which is probably my favorite, and I go over here to my palette, option click, and I'll have the link down below if you're not familiar with working with the color blending brushes. And here you can see we've got those beautiful colors, and so what's fun is you can match the wet brush strokes almost exactly with the color palettes from the other one because they're using the same colors. And let's see here, let's get one of the lighter ones. So, oops, I'm on the same layer even, so it's interacting with that. But you can see those gorgeous color blends, and you can have a lot of fun like you see in my demo images. And let's go over here. This one is a nice subtle one. Yeah. So you can see the brush does all the work, and it's just the absolute beautiful creamy blends that you can have a lot of fun with. So I wanted to have that as a little bit of an extra. And then here you can see the gold asteroid brush, which I love. It always is different. Like every time you do it, it's got some jitter built into it, and I just like, oh my gosh, so much fun. And I'll even include a gold palette to sample off of with that. And this one is a little bit of an asteroid brush, so you can like go like this and it tapers off, and you know, layer it up with the other brush or some other brush strokes, and you can have just a lot of fun with that. So those are some bonuses. So that is a quick overview of everything that is in this collection. And then in the second part of the video, I'm going to do a quick tutorial and I'm going to show you how easy it is to use these brushes and layer them up and create a really fun Zodiac horoscope social media graphic. Hey friends, so in the second part of this tutorial, we are going to use some of these brushes and create a really easy social media graphic like you see on the left here. And it's just a little daily horoscope graphic, but you can use these ideas to make a card, a pattern, website graphics, branding, whatever. So you can use these for lots of different things, but we're gonna make a little horoscope here. So this one on the left you see is one that I already have built, and then we'll build it up from scratch on the right. And now I'm going to go over here to my left one, and I'm just going to kind of peel back layer by layer so you can see the different brushes that I layered up to create this kind of effect. And what's cool is that you don't, like with these brushes, they all go together. So you don't really have to have a plan so much. So just grab some brushes, have fun, layer, and pretty soon you're just going to have a really cool thing, really cool design. So I've got some asteroids on top. Let's peel them back. And then we have got a couple little like meteor type brush strokes. And then we've got some starry, we've got some cloudy, we've got this, and then the first one we took is that. So let's just scooch this over here. And I wanted to have, you know, this is like, they could be a lot. So you always want to kind of have a little bit of balance. So I'm not putting this on all of the background. I'm going to focus on two corners and leave some negative space on the other side. So I've saved my tools as, let's see, not the right one. I saved them for this demo as a tool preset, but you can just use the brushes. But I like to be able to grab them fast so I don't waste a lot of time searching. So for the first brush stroke, if you see here on the left, I use brush number 13 with the second color palette, and I just brush some strokes here and then over here. Good enough, looks good. Let's make a new layer. I have brush number 16. So let's go, oops, hello. Let's get my selection tool. Let's go back to this one, add the next layer. So brush number 16 is these kind of meteor sort of strokes here. So let's get number 16. Yep, there we go. So we'll just add that kind of going here in a kind of a circular pattern. So I love it. We'll have a new layer. Let's grab brush number 19. And let's see where we added this here. I don't see, oh wait, I'm on the wrong layer here. Brush number 19. So we just add a little bit of that on the sides. So this one just kind of, oh, and I changed the color palette, so it's cool because you can kind of change up the color palettes. I grabbed brush number 1, brush number 19, and I just added some colors here. You can make it bold or not bold, but that's good enough. Let's create a new layer. We're having brush number 23 and we're going back to the second color palette. And if we go back over here, let's add that layer. So that's just a little bit in the corners. So let's go here. And this is, you can see here, this is a really, really lovely one, brush number 23. So we can add some of that there. Add some of that over here, maybe, you know, make it a little bit different. It doesn't have to be just like we see here. So, you know, have some fun. Add a new layer. What do I have? Brush number 7. Let's add that. That's a little bit of stars. So I'm going to add that kind of on the edge here. So that's kind of lovely. Brush number 7. And then what else do we have? Oh, we've got these little streaky brush strokes, which for some reason I did not already save. But let us make a new layer. And what did I grab? brush number Magical Meteor Streaky. And for this one, I think I added the first color palette. And I just made a couple little streaky strokes here. So those are gonna go behind the asteroid. So I did that there, and I did that there. But you know, I think I'll make it over there this time. Okay, good enough. Let's create a new layer. Let's see what we got. And so then the last thing that I added was the gold asteroids. And let's see here, we've got the gold asteroids here. And for the older versions of Photoshop, I've even saved this as a TPL because I like to support even if you're using like Photoshop CS6, even if you don't have the latest. And I just use this brush to go like this, and then I'm going to go behind that streak and just add a little splash. So that's basically it. So I used those brushes, took a few minutes, and now I've got this really cool kind of a depth background, just starry, galaxy, whatever. And I will have all of those tools that I use in this video as already saved with the colors for my Patreon members. And if you have any questions about using either the wet strokes, the multicolor pattern stamp strokes, or the gold, I will have the links down below, and I can show you, and you can see in those videos how to load your brushes, how to load your color palettes and work with those brushes. But I don't need to go over that in this one because I already went over that in many other videos. So I will have those linked down below if you're not familiar with it. So because I went a little bit fast because mainly I'm just wanting you to just wanting to show you the new brushes. So I don't have to go over everything all the time. And if you have any questions, just let me know down below in the comments. And I don't really know what yet, but I will have some public freebies down below. So take a look and let me know if you have any questions. And let me know what your favorite brush is. And if you have any requests for my next brush set, feel free to sound off down below too.